So even though it's the Panthers bye week, there's still like a ton of bad news that's coming. It seems like the Panthers still are finding ways to take L's and losses during this bye week, even though they're not playing the game. Like the bad news keeps on coming, whether it's Christian McCaffrey being announced that he's putting on injured reserve and his season is over, or starting cornerback Donte Jackson has now been added to the injured reserve because of a groin and he's out for a season. So things are looking even more doom and gloom, even after 2 losses from the Washington football team and the Miami Dolphins. So it really doesn't get much lower than this right now for the Panthers fan base. And it seems like we've fallen so far from the excitement of having Cam Newton back on this team to being now faced with the reality is if our season is actually over or not. But in this video, we're going to get into that. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Aaron Duncan with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. I start off every video by saying, "What up, dude?" And here on Necessary Bluntness, I give recap and analysis of the NFL, but I show a little extra love to the Carolina Panthers. So if you want to see more videos about the NFL and the Panthers with live streams, film breakdowns, all kind of fun videos like that, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button below and give the video a thumbs up. Because when you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell icon, because the bell icon is going to make sure you get a notification on your phone every time I go live. That way you don't miss anything, and every time I drop a video, that way you're one of the first ones to hear it, because it's all kind of Panthers news that's going, and I'm on top of it all. So make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the bell icon. Now, I know it's a controversial topic, but let me know down below in the comments, do you think that the Panthers should tank and go ahead and lose games to get a better draft pick? Or do you think that they should still try to compete for the playoffs even though things are going crazy? Because it's been such a crazy NFL year, anything could happen. So let me know down below in the comments how you feel. This Panthers NFL season has seemed like a roller coaster, but it's no different than any other year. We start off pretty strong, get our hopes up just for that back end of our schedule to kick our behind and really kick us in the teeth. And we end up looking forward to the draft within the last couple weeks of the season. I mean, we haven't played relevant football around this program since, 2017 when we made the playoffs. So it's a tough situation to be in. And this year we had a lot of hope. We started 3-0. We had a great defense. And then Sam Darnold went to old Sam Darnold ways. And then Christian McCaffrey got hurt. And then Sam Darnold got hurt. But we brought back Cam Newton thinking that things would be better. We could make a run down the backstretch because so many NFL teams have been getting upset, whether it's the Bucs losing to the Saints even without Jameis Winston, the Bills losing to the Jaguars even though the Jaguars didn't even score a touchdown in the game. So it seemed like anything is possible on a week-to-week basis, and that anybody can pretty much have a chance of getting a win every week, no matter who the opponent was. So there was always a little bit of hope there, especially with Cam Newton coming back. Fast forward to reality, it seems like it was pretty much too unrealistic to expect so much from Cam Newton in a short period of time coming in at week 10. The circumstances were never going to be ideal for Cam Newton, but now it seems like we've hit a low because he only had 5 completions in this past game against the Miami Dolphins, and it was just an ugly game overall with him having 2 interceptions at that, along with drop passes, multiple drop passes at that from the wide receivers, but that's been par for the course all year. Nevertheless, it seems like we have to get a taste of reality as our star player on the team, Christian McCaffrey, hurt his ankle and is now being put on injured reserve for the second time, which means he's automatically gone for the year. Not only that, the following day, our starting cornerback, Donte Jackson, hurt his groin. He's going to be out for the season also. Now, both of these guys aren't looking to be having surgery, but nevertheless, they're done. We're not going to see them for the rest of the 2021 season. Well, I talked about how crazy this NFL season has been with all these contenders being knocked off on a week-to-week basis by scrub teams who have no business hanging around and joining them on the same field, but it's the NFL, man. Things can change on a day-to-day basis, so you never really know what's going to happen, especially with COVID and injuries and all this and that. But the Panthers are in such a crazy spot. This is just a microcosm of how crazy the year has been for Carolina and for the NFL. The NFC, pretty much everybody's still in the hunt for the playoff spot, the final wild card spot, except the Lions, obviously because they're winless and they're trash. But the Carolina Panthers, even with the losing record and the 2-game losing streak they've been on, they're only a half a game out of that wild card spot at the number 7 seed. But on the other end, they're only a game and a half out of having a top 5 pick. According to Tankathon, they're sitting at number 10 right now, but a couple more losses down the back end, they could climb or fall, whatever you want to call it, down the draft board. Now, with that back end of this Panther schedule, we know that they have one of the toughest schedules in the league remaining, with the Falcons, the Saints, the Bucs twice, and the Bills. All pretty competitive teams. I mean, the Panthers aren't great, but they're last in their division. So none of these games, even though they seem winnable, none of them are guaranteed. We just saw them lay an egg against the Dolphins in the football team, but they also laid a good egg earlier this year against the Eagles and the New York Giants. So it doesn't get much worse than that. So you can't really call anything a winnable game when you've had losses like that. Nevertheless, they beat the Saints and they beat the Falcons, so maybe they can squeak some wins out there. Who knows what happens? But more often than not, it doesn't seem like the Panthers will be making the playoffs. So with these moves being made with these players going on injured reserve, is this meaning that it's tank season? Is it? Do we need to gas up the tank this early? All I really wanted was to be playing relevant football in December, and we couldn't even make it that way. We fell a couple of days short by losing these past couple of weeks, and we didn't make it to December. I was kind of okay with the tank last year because with COVID and Cam and Luke being gone, the emotion was gone from it. So I was like, fine, we'll lose games then. But now I was kind of over it. I was geeked up for this year. I was excited. I kept up hope. Hell, I even made a video saying that the season wasn't over when a lot of people thought the thing was down in the dumps after we lost to the Eagles and the Giants. I made that video saying there's keeping hope alive, that the season was going to be crazy and things could change on a week-to-week basis. And here I am maybe a month later, pretty much declaring that the season is over. I thought it was over after we lost to the football team because there's so many head-to-heads that would cause the Panthers not to make the playoffs. Now, there's been a debate, obviously, amongst the fan base if we should tank or we should keep trying to play because we're so close to the playoffs. A lot of people say that tanking never got anybody anywhere. Everybody says we need to build a winning culture, so we need to try to win every week. That's fine. And I don't think the players are going to lay down and lay an egg because if you do that on the field, you're going to get hurt. But management has their hands in being able to do stuff. Now, I don't know how hurt Christian McCaffrey or Donte Jackson is, but for them to shut them down for the season, it seems like a move that they're pretty much mailing it in. A lot of people think Matt Rhule should be fired, but I don't think you make these type of conservative moves about putting some of your starters on injured reserve if you don't feel like you have job security to coming back next year, even as bad as this back end of the season could end. So I think Matt Rhule knows that he has that job security, so he's moving accordingly. But another thing that makes tanking more incentivized for this team is that they traded the second and the fourth round pick in the Sam Darnold trade, and they also got rid of another mid-round pick in the C.J. Henderson trade. So the Panthers only have one pick in the top 100, and that's in the first round. They will need to get as high as possible, and we know Scott Fitter loves to trade, so I do not see any way or shape or form or fashion that they do not trade back to recoup some of those picks. Now, we saw the Miami Dolphins this past offseason trade and get 2 first-round picks. We saw the 49ers give up 3 first-round picks to get into the top 3 to get Trey Lance. So if we can slide up that high and then trade back because there's not really a great quarterback that's really there. The offensive line class is pretty deep. So we need more bodies and we need top talent. So I think being able to trade back after having a good high pick could be a good thing. And you know me, like I said, I'm one of the most optimistic fans out there because like I said, I made that video of why the season wasn't over just a few weeks ago. But right now, I'm just thinking about the future. And we need offensive line. We need to retain some players. We're going to have to build through the draft, and we don't have that many draft assets. So to do that, we're going to have to get a better pick and trade back. We may not even have to lose. I mean, the way these things are working out, the way Matt Rhule coaches, it may just happen anyway without even trying. But it seems like the team may be in tank mode at this point, and it may not be the worst idea in the world because we saw how last year beating the football team down the stretch pretty much screwed us out of having the top 3 pick. It could have changed anything because we could have traded with the 49ers, got more first-round picks, and been in better position to either draft a quarterback later or make another move for some offensive linemen or whatever we could have done. But one game here or there can make or break the season. And down this back end, without our best player in Christian McCaffrey, it seems like we're not going to have a fighting chance anyway because we saw how bad this offense is without Christian McCaffrey. But even with Christian McCaffrey, we struggled the past couple of weeks. So I'm nervous about the output. And we still have a couple more Sundays to watch this team. And it's not going to be pretty. Hopefully we can get some young guys involved to build on them, to get some experience, to find out what we have in Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown and some other young guys like that on the offensive line to see what we can do, especially with this young secondary and defense that we have. So I want to see those guys get involved. And if you start to see that, that lets me know that the coaching staff and the organization is really determined that, this season is a wash and they got to let things go. But nevertheless, you guys let me know down below in the comments, do you think that the Panthers with these moves they made, they're in tank mode? And do you think it's the best thing to do? Or do you think they should keep trying to win this to compete to make things interesting for the fans? Let me know down below in the comments. But without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off. I'll see you next time. Peace.